One Piece 1095 was absolute peak. Oda has definitely been on a hot streak these last few chapters, but this one takes things even further. From Saturn's powers to Kuma's origins and even details about the infamous God Valley Island. So let's not waste any more time and break down this week's chapter. 1095 kicks off with the stabbing of Saint Saturn by Bonnie, and as expected, he deliberately tanked her attack in order to grab her. And just like he did with that marine from last week's chapter, he used his ability to launch a mental attack that hits his targets right on the head. He even hits Sanji with it despite him having advanced observation haki, and it knocks him down. If that wasn't enough, Saturn can even regenerate wounds, since he's shown fully healing from Bonnie's stabbing. Honestly, all the hints seem to be pointing towards the fact that Saturn, the rest of the Gorosei, and Imu are indeed immortal devil beings. For one, Saturn looks exactly the same now as he did 38 years ago based on the flashback that we see. On top of the fact that you have the devil summoning circles, the more than likely immortality, the horns, and the cherry on top is his speech about humans, like he himself isn't one. To add to his list of abilities, he's shown holding back Sanji, Frankie, and Vegapunk with some invisible force field thing. If you guys have an idea what this might be, drop it down in the comments below and I'll definitely be sure to take a look. Moving on, we got probably the favorite moment of every power scaler out there. We see that both Kizaru and Luffy are down for the count. And if you're a coping Admiral fan, you might think that this is a draw or that Kizaru got the slight edge from this battle. But there's more to this than meets the eye. For one, Luffy went down due to exhaustion from overusing Gear 5, while Kizaru went down from taking a White Star gun to the dome. And if that's too hard to believe, the man himself even says, "I don't think I can move for a while." And to make matters worse, Luffy fought an awakened Rob Lucci, followed by the Seraphim, plus he went through the Labo phase security perimeter twice, which is like getting bombed twice as well. On the other hand, Kizaru came off 100% fresh off the boat when he landed on Egghead. This paired up with Green Bull's display of strength in Wano has definitely tanked Admiral stocks, while Yonko stocks have been soaring ever since. Now we dive into Kuma's dark past. Honestly, in my opinion, it's probably one of the saddest backstories in this series. From the doctor trying to save them and getting betrayed to him and his parents becoming slaves, then finding out his mom dies, and lastly, his father trying to give his son a little bit of joy and being killed for it. Honestly, just brutal. From this dreadful flashback, we do however learn a few things. For one, we find out that Kuma belongs to an extinct race known as the Buccaneers, who are said to possess blood from the giants, which explains their ridiculous strength from a young age as shown by Kuma. We also learn from Saturn that the Buccaneers were exterminated because they committed a grave crime. And we later find out that not only does Kuma know about the Warrior of Liberation, Nika, but his dad states that this legend of Nika was passed on within his clan. We also know how anal the Gorosei is about information related to the Void Century, and we've witnessed this firsthand with the people of Ohara, where Professor Clover was shot dead in an attempt to stop him from speaking the name of an ancient kingdom of the Void Century. So knowing this, I think the crime the Buccaneers committed was knowing about Sun God Nika. And so to ensure that there is no evidence of what happened 800 years ago, Kuma's people were killed. In this flashback, we also get more information about one of my personal favorite islands, God Valley. Firstly, it's stated to be somewhere in the West Blue, and second, the reason celestial dragons were on that island in the first place was because of some dumb tournament they had set up. Essentially, every 3 years, they select some random island to do the Hunger Games, where they senselessly just kill the inhabitants of said island. Now, if you look closely in this panel, you can see 6 chests on the stage, which is probably the prize for the tournament. And what else have we seen inside small chests like this before? That's right, devil fruits. So maybe the prize for this tournament were some really rare devil fruits. Now this isn't such a far-fetched idea since we know that Kaido's devil fruit was found by Big Mom on this island after the fight with Zebek. We also see a young Figurlin Garling who looks a lot like Shanks, which further adds to the theory that Shanks is the son of Garling. For one, we know that Shanks was found by Roger in a treasure chest shortly after the God Valley incident. He is also said to be 1 year old at the time of his finding, and in the present time Shanks is 39. So given that this flashback was 38 years ago, the timeline adds up. That means it's almost certain Roger found Shanks around the time of the God Valley incident. But Shanks was already 1 year old, so if he was indeed Garling's son, that means Shanks isn't from God Valley, but he was brought there during this event. One more thing that I'll say about Garling is that he is on fraud watch much like Kizaru. And the reason being is that he got the title Champion of God Valley, but we don't know how he got this name. Was it for winning the tournament and just killing a bunch of innocent civilians? Or did he actually contribute in fighting off Zebek and his crew? Only time will tell. The flashback and the chapter ends with Kuma trying to escape, only to be added as targets for the tournament. We're also introduced to young Ivankov and another slave named Ginny. Honestly, I had no idea that Ivankov was a slave. This would explain the hatred Dragon has for the world government. Also, one thing to note about Ginny is that she's seen munching on some meat. Who else do we know does this? Bonnie. And I think Ginny is actually Bonnie's mom. Ginny being shown eating could be a hint at the eating disorder that Bonnie has, which has been passed down from her mother. As if that wasn't enough, they also look like each other. And both of their names rhyme. Ginny, Bonnie, Ginny, Bonnie. See the resemblance? All of these connections make this theory all the more compelling. And that is it for the video. Honestly, a great read. I love chapters that expand on the lore of the series, which is why I'd easily rate this chapter a solid 9.6 out of 10. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe for more One Piece content like this and much more. Until next time, peace.